He's too trusting to check my phone. My girlfriend laughed in a group chat. I've been texting my ex the entire time we've been together. Another friend recognized me from her Instagram and sent screenshots of everything. I didn't confront her. I booked a romantic weekend getaway, let her pack, smile, and post about it. The moment we landed, I ghosted her. That night, she slept on an airport bench, still texting me, "Where did you go?" Trust is a funny thing. Takes years to build, seconds to break. In my case, it took exactly 47 seconds to read the screenshots that destroyed everything I thought I knew about my relationship. Allison and I had been together for 2 years. Met through mutual friends, moved in together after 8 months. She was beautiful, clever, always the most charming person in any room. I thought I'd gotten lucky. Turns out, I was just another mark in her game. The revelation came on a regular Tuesday. I was at work when I got a DM from someone I didn't know, a guy named Eric. "Hey man, you don't know me, but I think you're dating Allison Bennett? I recognized you from her Instagram posts." I confirmed, immediately suspicious. "Look, I'm in a group chat with my cousin Megan. Allison's in it too. She doesn't know I can see who Megan's other friends are. I think you should see this." What followed were screenshots from their group chat, dated just 3 days earlier. "Jason's too trusting to check my phone. I've been texting my ex the entire time we've been together." "Girl, that's cold. Aren't you afraid he'll find out?" "Please. He thinks I hung the moon. Besides, what Ryan and I have is just texting. Mostly." Another girl. "Mostly?" "Well, there may have been a few meetups when Jason was traveling for work, but what he doesn't know won't hurt him, right?" I compartmentalize well. "Does Ryan know you're living with another guy?" "Of course, he gets it. We have history. Jason's stable, has a good job, treats me like a princess. Ryan's exciting but unreliable. Best of both worlds." Reading those words, I felt nothing at first. Just a cold, empty space where my heart should be. Then came the slow burn of rage, not at the betrayal itself, but at the casual way she'd mocked my trust, like it was a character flaw to believe the woman I loved. I thanked Eric, verified the screenshots were real by checking details only Allison would know, then sat at my desk planning my response. Most men would confront her immediately, scream, throw things, demand explanations. But that's exactly what she'd expect, an emotional reaction she could manipulate. I decided on a different approach. That night, I acted completely normal. Kissed her hello, asked about her day, watched our usual shows, all while silently cataloging every lie that crossed her perfect lips. She mentioned a work lunch that I now knew was with Ryan, complained about Megan being dramatic again in their group chat, each deception delivered with the practiced ease of someone who'd been lying for years. The next day, I booked a surprise romantic getaway to Miami. 4 days, 3 nights at a beachfront hotel. Allison was thrilled, posting immediately to her Instagram, "Best boyfriend ever. Surprise vacation next weekend. Blessed. Couple goals." I watched her pack all week, carefully selecting outfits, buying new swimsuits, getting her nails done. She spent over $500 on new clothes for the trip, money from our joint account naturally. I said nothing, just smiled and acted excited. What she didn't know, I'd only booked one-way tickets, and only one hotel room, for one night, in my name only, with a specific plan in mind. Friday arrived. We took an Uber to the airport, checked our bags, breezed through security. On the plane, she took selfies of us, posted more about her amazing boyfriend. I smiled in every photo, knowing they'd age like milk. What Allison also didn't know, I'd flown to Miami the day before to prepare. I checked a small bag containing essentials, picked it up, and immediately returned on the next flight back home. The airline staff probably thought I was insane, but I needed this part of the plan to work flawlessly. 4 hours later, we landed in Miami. As we walked through the terminal toward baggage claim, I saw my opportunity. Allison stopped at a restroom, handing me her carry-on. "Watch my stuff? I'll be quick." I nodded, waiting until the bathroom door closed behind her. Then I walked away, taking nothing but my own backpack, leaving her carry-on sitting there. With the previous day's recon, I knew exactly where to go to avoid being seen when she emerged. I walked straight to the exit, got into my prearranged car, and disappeared. I'd prepared for this moment by purchasing a second phone the week before. I kept my original phone active, but installed an app that would save all incoming texts and calls to review later. without sending read receipts. This way, I could monitor her reaction without directly engaging. 20 minutes later, my original phone lit up with notifications, call after call, text after text. Where are you? Jason, this isn't funny. Did you get lost? Answer me. Where did you go? I watched the messages accumulate on my second phone's monitoring app, but never opened or responded to any of them on my original device. 3 hours later, she was still texting, her messages growing increasingly desperate. The hotel says they don't have a reservation for us. I can't get a room anywhere. Everything's booked for the festival. I don't have enough cash for a flight back. Please, Jason, I don't know anyone here. Are you trying to teach me a lesson? Message received, okay? Just tell me where you are. At midnight, she sent a photo of herself sitting on an airport bench, mascara streaked down her face. Is this what you wanted to see? Are you happy now? I'm sleeping in the airport because of you. I didn't respond to any messages, continuing to monitor them through the app without directly accessing them on my original phone. What she didn't know was that I'd spent the previous week methodically disconnecting our lives. I'd moved all my important documents and irreplaceable possessions to a storage unit, transferred my portion of our joint account to a new bank entirely, arranged for a new apartment, paid the deposit and first month's rent, told my workplace about the situation so they could enhance security protocols. I didn't exist in Miami that weekend. While she was stranded there, thinking I was somewhere in the city, I was already back home on the return flight I'd booked during my previous day's trip. I went straight to our apartment, now just her apartment, and removed the last of my belongings. I left her share of the rent for the month in an envelope on the table, along with printed copies of every screenshot, text, and photo I had of her deception. On the final page, I wrote, "You're right. I was too trusting. That ends today. Do not contact me again." I also left my original phone next to the evidence package. It contained all her increasingly desperate messages, which she would see were delivered but never read. Monday morning, I woke up in my new place with only my new phone. Old life completely severed. Started my new life. My friend Eric, who had initially sent me the screenshots, kept me updated on the aftermath. He heard through his cousin Megan that Allison had finally managed to get a flight home Sunday night, exhausted and humiliated. She'd walked into the apartment to find my note, the evidence package, and the empty spaces where my things had been. She went nuclear. Hysterical calls to friends, social media meltdowns, threats to report me for abandonment. But each time she tried to paint herself as the victim, those screenshots surfaced again. Eventually, even her most loyal friends couldn't ignore the evidence. Ryan, her ex, wanted nothing to do with her once the game was exposed. According to Eric, Ryan had been fed the same lines about me, that I was temporary, emotionally unavailable, just a convenient living situation until they could be together. About the hotel room I'd booked for one night in my name only, I'd done something particularly calculated. Before leaving Miami on my reconnaissance trip, I'd checked in early, left an envelope at the front desk addressed to Ryan, containing the room key and a note explaining exactly why he'd been invited, along with screenshots of Allison's group chat messages about him. I'd already paid for the room, so whether he showed up or not didn't matter to me. According to Eric, Ryan never showed up to claim it. Apparently, he had standards I hadn't expected. 2 months later, Eric told me Allison still occasionally attempts to reach out to mutual friends asking about me. Sometimes apologetic, sometimes angry, always manipulative. I maintain absolute silence, having blocked every possible avenue of direct communication from day one. Was it cruel to leave her stranded in a strange city? Perhaps. But no crueler than systematically mocking the trust of someone who loved you. No crueler than making me the butt of jokes with her friends while sharing my bed. No crueler than stealing years of my life for her convenience. When someone shows you who they really are through unguarded moments, believe them the first time. And if they treat your trust like a weakness to be exploited, make sure they learn it's the last mistake they'll ever make with you. Update, 3 months later. First, thank you all for the overwhelming support on my original post. The validation from complete strangers helped more than I expected during some dark moments. Several of you asked for updates, so here's where things stand. Life has stabilized in my new place. It's smaller than our shared apartment, but feels infinitely more peaceful. I've been methodically rebuilding. New furniture, new routines, new boundaries. The sense of freedom is worth every penny of starting over. According to Eric, who remains my primary source of information about the aftermath, Allison's attempts to contact me through mutual friends continued for about 6 weeks before finally tapering off. The last message he heard about was particularly desperate. A long email to a mutual friend claiming she'd started therapy, recognized her self-sabotaging tendencies, and wanted to heal together with me. The friend, knowing better, never passed this message along directly, but mentioned its existence to Eric. Classic hoovering attempt. Textbook manipulation. The most unexpected development came from Eric himself. We've actually become friends. Turns out he went through something similar with his ex-fiancée. There's a strange brotherhood among men who've escaped manipulative relationships. We're now regular climbing partners at the local gym. As for professional consequences, Eric told me Allison apparently showed up at my workplace once, causing enough of a scene that security escorted her out. My boss was surprisingly understanding, having gone through a messy divorce himself. It actually led to an honest conversation about work-life balance, and I've since established healthier boundaries there too. The mutual friends who initially tried to convince Eric I'd overreacted have mostly come around after seeing Allison's true colors emerge in the aftermath. 2 have explicitly apologized to him for not believing initially. The rest have quietly drifted toward my side of the divide. Loyalty reveals itself in crisis. Some of you asked if I regretted the nuclear option, rather than simply confronting her. Not for a second. A confrontation would have given her the opportunity to manipulate, gaslight, and rewrite the narrative. The clean break allowed me to control my exit and preserve my dignity. For those wondering about financial entanglements, because we weren't married and had minimal joint property beyond the apartment lease, the separation was relatively clean. The worst financial hit was walking away from some furniture and kitchen items, but that's a small price for freedom. Dating again? Not yet. I'm taking time to recalibrate my trust sensors and establish stronger boundaries. When I do start again, it will be with clearer eyes and higher standards. To those in similar situations, questioning whether you're overreacting to betrayal, trust your instincts. Deception of this magnitude isn't a mistake, it's a character revelation. Final update, 1 year later. This will be my last post on this situation, as Allison has finally become a closed chapter in my life. The most significant update. Through Eric, I learned that he ran into Ryan, her ex she'd been texting, at a friend's wedding last month. After an initially awkward exchange, they ended up talking for nearly an hour. Ryan's side of the story was illuminating. Allison had told him we were practically broken up, and that I was emotionally abusive. She'd been laying groundwork to transition from me to him, without ever being single. When my ghosting maneuver exposed everything, Ryan blocked her immediately. According to Eric, Ryan showed him texts she'd sent after Miami, desperate attempts to salvage their connection that mirrored what Eric had heard she'd sent to others about me. Same manipulative language, same false promises, even similar phrasing. It was like reading a script she used on all her targets. As for Allison herself, she's moved to another city according to social media updates Eric has seen. Her Instagram now features a new boyfriend who looks remarkably similar to me. Same build, similar style. I genuinely hope he's more carefully vetting her character than I initially did. The most rewarding development has been my own growth. Therapy helped me identify why I'd been vulnerable to someone like Allison. Childhood patterns of seeking validation through caretaking, difficulty establishing boundaries, tendency to rationalize red flags. Working through these issues has been challenging but transformative. I've started dating again, cautiously. Current partner knows the outline of what happened and respects the deliberate pace I'm setting. The difference in relationship dynamics when both people act with integrity is remarkable. For those who criticize my methods as too extreme, I understand your perspective. But sometimes a clean, dramatic exit is the only language manipulators understand. The Miami strategy wasn't just about revenge. It was about creating a scenario where Allison couldn't immediately spin a narrative, making herself the victim. The shock value bought me the time and space to completely disentangle our lives. Several commenters asked about long-term consequences for Allison. From what little Eric has heard, the exposure affected her socially and professionally more than I'd anticipated. Her carefully curated image of perfection shattered when those group chat screenshots circulated among our social circle. That wasn't my intention, I just wanted out cleanly, but I can't say I feel particularly bad about it either. The night she spent on that airport bench turned out to be prophetic. When you build your security on deception, you eventually find yourself without shelter. To anyone dealing with betrayal right now, it gets better. The step that feels impossible today will be a distant memory a year from now. Trust isn't a weakness, it's a gift that the right people will honor. The wrong ones will reveal themselves eventually. I won't be updating again, as Allison no longer occupies any space in my thoughts or life. Thank you all for being part of my healing journey. Whatever brought you to my story, I hope you find the clarity and courage you need for your own path forward. Edit. Many asked about the legal implications of leaving someone stranded in another city. To clarify, Allison had her ID, credit cards, and phone. The airport had multiple hotels within walking distance. She had friends she could have called for help. She wasn't endangered, just inconvenienced and embarrassed. I checked with a lawyer before executing this plan and confirmed I had no legal obligation to provide transportation home for an adult who had willingly traveled there.